Hey guys, Coach Nino here with Dark Horse Sports. I want to show you today how to use the leg press machine. Now, there's different forms of leg press. This is a horizontal leg press. A lot of times what you'll find at a gym is the vertical leg press where, it's up here and the weight plates are stacked up. But either way, the principles are going to apply. I just happen to have one of these horizontal leg presses with me here today. Now, the leg press machine is a tool in your training toolbox. A lot of times, maybe if you're new to training or maybe older ones, they say, okay, hey, what are we gonna do for legs? I don't wanna hurt myself. I don't wanna hurt my low back, right? There's a squat, that can be a little scary, a little bit more technical of a lift. But with a leg press machine, it does offer a lot of stability. So you may think that offers safety. However, there's one thing you have to be very careful about in the setup when you do a leg press, so you actually don't hurt your low back, right? You might use it because you want to stay safe, and then you end up getting injured because of what this machine can do. So the first thing you want to do when you get into position in a leg press, right? Now you're in position. You always want to make sure that your low back is flat and pushed back into that pad. You're never going to let your low back, that arch where you have an arch in your low back, that space leave the contact of the pad. You always want to keep that pressed. Now, the biggest thing you want to make sure of is you want to bring your leg to your chest. So this is your active range of motion. That's it. It's not much. Now, if I went more, like if there was a lot of weight, right, and it was pushing back at me, it could bring my knee back, but now I would just roll my spine, my low back. So it would no longer be a leg movement. Now it's a low back movement, and then that's where the injury could happen. You have all this weight crushing you, rounding your low spine. So to make sure of that, put your low back flat against the pad that never leaves, and you check your active range of motion. What can I pull back? That's as far as I can go. So now that I know that, I can adjust myself. Let's bring this a little closer. Okay, you can still bring it in a little bit. One more click here. Okay, that's pretty much it. And now if I go super close together, it's not far, but if I go maybe a little bit out wide, it's a little better. So that's my stance. I want to go where I can bring actively my knees to my chest as much as I can, and then I push. Now, one other thing, you can say that if you go up high, it's maybe a little bit more glutes and hams, maybe a little bit. But again, there my active range of motion is not as good as down here. This could be a little bit more quad lower, feet lower on the pad, maybe, again, depending on the machine and the setup. So I'm gonna go kind of in the middle of that. Check my active range of motion. Low back is against the pad, and then I press. Now on the way back down, I'm not just letting gravity pull that back into me, right? But I am actively, just like when I did that check of my range of motion, I am pulling my knees back to my chest. So I'm pulling, pushing again, pulling, pushing again. And at no time is my low back going to leave that pad. It is anchored, secure, and nice and stable. So again, this can be a good machine. It's an easy one to kind of get into Not a lot of technicality needed, like a squat, for instance. However, make sure to check your active range of motion so that you don't round your low spine and then get hurt on this machine. So whatever the case may be, make sure to go through those steps anytime you do a leg press machine, and that way you can still work out your legs and use this piece of equipment to the best advantage.